So I would like to demonstrate a lesson done live and then a lesson done via video to demonstrate the difference here, these kind of things. I need somebody to time me. Does somebody have a cell phone that would just... Okay, your name, ma'am? Kathleen's going to time. Wait till I say go. But I am developing a course for freshmen and sophomore undergraduates who are wanting to be teachers. And the course is the history of educational technology. Okay? So I'm developing this, and I want to teach you, I'm going to pretend that you're my students in this class, and I'm going to teach you the next lesson we're working on. Okay, hold on, let me get my... That was supposed to be funny. Your name one more time? Kathleen. I'll forget it again. All right. Ready? In 3, 2, 1, go. Hey, everybody. All right. So so today we're learning about the history of the Blackboard. Very, very cool stuff. But before we get started, do you remember what we learned yesterday in class, right? So it's connected. We learned yesterday in class is... Right, exactly. We were studying the pencil, right? The history of the pencil, which was revolutionary, and it was who kind of developed the first pencil that we consider a pencil, right? It was the Romans, yep. And they called it a stylus, right? You remember that? Okay, this is good. I just want to make sure you all have this in your notes from yesterday. It seems like some of you do, some of you don't. I'm not sure. But anyway, and of course the most important thing is that they used to put lead in pencils, and now they swapped it out for, non-toxic graphite. Good. Make sure you have that. If you don't have that in your notes, make sure you... Anyway, but we want to, we're talking about the history of the Blackboard today. And it's been critical. It's probably one of the most important innovations. If you put down your cell phone, you really need to pay attention and close your laptops. This is really important. This is going to be critical for the test, right? Critical. So, okay. Okay. All right. So in 1801, a teacher and a headmaster in Scotland, actually, got really fed up with his inefficient teaching practices. What's that? Oh, yeah, that doesn't have, no, we're going to talk about that later. That's a good question. We're going to talk about that later. But no, thank you. Yeah, I'll get to that. I'm going to come back to that. So he got fed up with his inefficient teaching practice. Yeah? No, email me that. That's not, it doesn't have, okay. His students had individual slates or pieces of wood that they could write on at their desk, but he had no good way of presenting a lesson using visuals to the whole class. So he went out and found a large piece of slate and hung it up in the front of his classroom, and that was the first Blackboard. Now, when did I first use the Blackboard? Now, it's a funny story. When the first time I used the Blackboard was probably when I was in kindergarten, and this is going to make me sound old, but that was in the early 80s. I was in kindergarten. And I think it was a green board. Like, I remember walking up to this big, and I was actually taller than everybody else, but still, like, I remember working on my spelling words on this big green board, and Mrs. I can't remember her name. I'll get back to you on that. I'll post it on our blog. I don't remember her name. But anyway, so what was I saying? Right. So it became the first Blackboard, right? A massive innovation that revolutionized teaching and learning, making teaching and learning more efficient. And over the next few years, the next number of years, blackboards, green boards, whiteboards became ubiquitous in almost every classroom. Almost every classroom has one type of these boards, and still, to this day, most classrooms have these boards. Incredible, meaning that it's probably the Blackboard It's probably the most disruptive innovation the education industry has ever fully adopted. Time. 4 minutes, 1 second. Interesting. All right. 4 minutes, 1 second. My video about the content that I needed to deliver for this, now keep in, well, yeah, is 50 seconds long. 50 seconds. But these cognitive interruptions, rambling tangents, repetition, and reteaching slows down my delivery of this information. Not to mention having a video, it allows students to go back to it and revisit it, and that's not a one-time delivery. And also, you know, when I started, the first, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 seconds is me talking about yesterday's lesson. Well, that's another video. There's no reason to do that. If a student's deficient in that, or if they need review, you point them toward the video. You don't, you know, we don't need to go back through it. So I want to do the lesson again, which means that the video is about, well, let's say 1 minute. It leaves me 3 extra minutes to do something other than just say more stuff, right? So I've just gained 3 minutes.
In 1801, a teacher in Scotland got fed up with his inefficient teaching practices. Each of his students had a piece of slate or wood at their desk that they could write on, but he had no good way of presenting a lesson to the entire class while sharing simple visuals. So he went out and found a large piece of slate and hung it up in the front of his room. That was the first Blackboard. Over the years, blackboards, green boards, whiteboards have been integrated into almost every classroom on the planet, drastically improving the efficiency of both teaching and learning. This 200-year-old technology, which is still widely used today, is arguably the most disruptive innovation that the education industry has ever fully adopted.